running out of time. I really thought you were on my side, but now there's nobody by my side. I need ya, I need ya, I need you right now. Yeah, I need you right now. So don't let me, don't let me, don't let me down. I think I'm losing my mind now. It's in my head, darling, I hope that you'll be here when I need you the most. So don't let me, don't let me, don't let me down. Don't let me down. Yeah, don't let me down. Yeah, don't let me down. Don't let me down. Hello, hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy Sunday. It's an amazing day. It was nicer outside today, at least where I'm at. I'm pretty sure in the cities in Minneapolis, it was a lot warmer. So I hope you guys utilized the weekend, got a lot done during the weekend, because remember, if you get some stuff done, Jay said, it snowed. Okay, well, never mind. It was 80 degrees there the other day. It was warm here, about 3 hours north. So definitely wild, definitely pretty crazy. So, utilizing the weekends is how you get ahead. That's how you're going to get farther than everybody else. That's something that you really got to think about. So Lupita even said it rained in Chicago. Yeah, in Toronto too. So, everywhere. The weather's, pretty bipolar everywhere from what I've known. I talked to somebody from Illinois today and he was talking about the exact same thing. So, it keeps tricking me. I keep thinking that, it's finally spring, it's going to be warm weather, summer's coming, and then next day it snows. So I'm hoping it starts to warm up here pretty soon. I'm going to kind of dive into some things today. So, my name's Zenna Rowe. I am 21 years old. I'm actually from Moorhead, Minnesota. I grew up here and I've been in this industry for about 2.5 years now. So it's been an incredible 2.5 years. I've gotten so much done, learned a lot, especially in the first year and a half. I honestly sat back, I listened, and I didn't do much. And that's, what I'm going to talk about a little bit more today as well. Turn on your cameras, take some notes, get your notebooks out. I promise you this information is really going to help you level up in every aspect of your life, whether it's, the business, trading, anything. So take some notes. Let's see those beautiful faces. Turn your cameras on and we'll kind of dive into everything. So last week, basically what we covered on was the power of belief, overcoming excuses, and the subconscious mind. So this week, Lupita, Aaliyah, and I decided that we are going to go over discipline, dedication, and distractions. And so here's the thing. I used to think that I had discipline. I used to think that I was so disciplined and, I actually was dedicated to everything and, I was dedicated to my goals and reaching those. But now where I'm at today, I realized that I really didn't have that self-discipline. I really wasn't dedicated to my goals, because where I'm at now compared to then and how much I'm doing today, I mean, the second that I wake up, I'm doing something towards the business every single second. So, by the time I'm going to sleep, even when I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming about the business. I've talked to a few people about this before, but sometimes I can't even sleep because I'm laying there awake thinking about the business or trading and what I'm going to do next, people on my team, what I can do to help them. Maybe I told them that I was going to help them with something, but I had a lot going on. And so that pops into my mind especially, and then I might be sending some texts out. So my team might get some texts randomly at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because that's when I remember something. And so, this is how I realized that I really have the momentum, that I really picked up that speed, that I'm actually dedicated to my goals now, dedicated to getting where I want to go. And so, that's what I'm going to kind of dive more into. And so self-discipline and dedication are mutually reinforcing. So basically, I'm going to kind of explain this, and I highly recommend writing this part down too. Self-discipline allows you to stay focused and committed to your goals, while dedication provides the fuel to keep them moving forward, even when facing challenges and distractions. I'm going to say that one more time. Self-discipline allows you to stay focused and committed to your goals, while dedication provides the fuel to keep them moving forward, even when facing challenges and distraction. And so those go together. And that's really what we're going to break down for you guys today. And self-discipline is taking action in spite of how you feel, in spite of how you feel, no matter if you're motivated that day or not. It's living a life by design, not by default. It's, planning your days. Having that self-discipline means that, you're not sitting there all the time watching TikToks. Even if you're looking for content and you get distracted by other things, not sitting there watching TV all the time, even though, yeah, it might be a good breakaway, but so would, listening to audios. So would so many different things, bettering your mind, growing every single day, growing during those periods, because, when you're sitting there watching TV, are you really growing? That's something that you really have to ask yourself when you're doing those things. Are you really growing? Am I really growing? And so I was watching a video by Ed Mylett the other day, and he even said, he goes, majority of the time, I do not have motivation. And that honestly was shocking to me. It was shocking to the other person that was interviewing him. And because, you see these people and you think, okay, well, they seem motivated 24/7. It comes easy to them. No, it doesn't. It's that self-discipline that they built up for themselves. It's their dedication to those goals. And so that's something that you have to really kind of focus on. You're not going to be motivated 24/7, and that's okay. But that's why you have to build that self-discipline to get to where you kind of want to go. And here's the thing. Most of us are willing participants in our own distractions. I'm going to say that one more time. Most of us are willing participants in our own distractions. Think about it. TV, watching TV, the people that you surround yourself, are they distracting you away from your goals? If you're trying to sit there and, hop on a call, if you have a couple of friends around you, are you able to sit there and take notes while they're around? What about the TV, the phone? And yeah, being on your phone, having your phone, obviously that's the business, that's trading. But are you getting distracted by other things on your phone? It's so, so, so easy to get distracted by other things happening on your phone. I'll be doing something on my phone and all of a sudden I'm on Facebook scrolling through some videos that I didn't even realize that I was doing. And so that's why it's so important to, have those distractions and clear those distractions, understand what those distractions are. You have to actually identify the distraction in your life to get rid of that distraction. And so the truth to the matter is that society is conspiring all the time in our culture to completely distract you, so you never win. That's something that you really got to realize. I mean, things are going on all the time in the world. And, they'll be posting it all over Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. I see it on everything. A lot of distractions. And yeah, a lot of it's important. You want to keep up to date with everything. But do you have to be sitting there, for 2-3 hours of the day, seeing what's going on in the world all the time? No. You can be spending that time towards business, towards trading, to bettering yourself and not getting distracted by everything else that's happening around you. And so it causes you to never completely get disciplined enough for an extended period of time. And to actually reach your goals, to reach what you want in life, to, reach that dream life, you have to be able to have that discipline for an extended, time. Whether it's, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, that's why building that self-discipline is so important. And that's why we're going to kind of get into it a little bit more as well. So, turn your TV off sometimes. When you're in the car and the radio's on, what can you do? I've talked to so many people about this. Either turn it off, sit there in silence, sit with your thoughts, kind of sit there and think about, what you have to do next that day, the tasks that you have to get done, because there's a lot going on in our minds 24/7. And that's kind of what I talked about last week as well, that things are going on in our minds all the time. So sometimes you need to take a break from all the noises around you, have complete silence sometimes to work through it, to realize kind of what you got to focus on that day so you're not all over the place. And, play podcasts even in the car. That's something that's so important. That's something that I do all the time. Whenever I'm in the car, because it's a 30-minute drive to town, I'm going to play podcasts, or I'm going to sit there with the radio off, chill, and think about what I have to kind of get done that day, different tasks, what's important, things like that. So that's why it's so important, especially taking breaks for yourself, even when you have self-discipline. And that's something that I realized the other day too. I was talking to somebody and I was like, okay, I'm always go, 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 go. Because if I stop, in the middle of a certain task, especially, I don't know how I can come back to it and get it all done. Because if I get distracted, I get distracted. And this person told me, take some breaks because, I let them know that I was getting burnt out because I would be go, 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 go 24/7. He said, take some breaks every once in a while. Put an alarm on your phone so every hour for 5 minutes you take a break because that's what's necessary. And so even in self-discipline, that's what you can be doing. Take those breaks so you don't experience burnout, so you can have little breaks, so you can work on the next task and be fully in it. And here's another thing too. If you're really obsessed, the obsession will distract you from those distractions. And that's exactly what I realized, from before till now. I thought I had that self-discipline. Like I said, I thought I was dedicated to my goals, but now the business is literally the distraction away from my personal life distractions. It gets me away from that. It gets my mind off of that kind of stuff. If something's happening and it's starting to give me negative feelings or working me up, I'm going to go work on my business because it makes me feel a million times better. And so I'm going to say it one more time. If you're really obsessed, the obsession will distract you from those distractions. But if you're not obsessed, those distractions will distract you from the goal. That is really, really important. That's something that stood out to me. I listened to a lot of Ed Mylett, and a lot of this came from Ed Mylett. He taught me so much, honestly. Like, mentors aren't just your mentors in this. My mentor is not just Jay and Josh and Colby and Justin, but it's also the bigger people. Ed Mylett, the people that we're always talking about, to listen to the audios, to listen to the podcast. There's stuff that you can learn from them every single day, and maybe you get to meet them in person someday. So one thing too is that everybody at the top has one thing in common. That one thing is that they are obsessed with their own lives and not other people, not other people's lives. That's something I realized too, is that on TikTok, people will be scrolling and people start living through the other people on TikTok, the other people that are doing fun things with their life. I've heard it so many times about, people in college. If they're not in college, they're like, hey, I'm just going to live through you. I'm going to live through you in the college life. That's just kind of how I'm going to do it. No, you got to stay focused on yourself. Don't get distracted by everything else going on around you, because are you really going to be able to get to your goals? Are you on that path to your goals? That's something that you always have to think about. And what steals more dreams than almost anything in this life? It's the obsession with the distractions. We are all obsessed with our own distractions. That's something that you have to kind of understand. That's why you have to identify the distractions. It might not come to you easy. It might not, be blaring out. It might be a blinking light. That's why you have to identify the distractions, because what steals more dreams than almost anything in life is the obsession with distractions. And the people that are best at what they do, they don't live with distractions. They live with obsession and focus. Obsession and focus, obsessed with their goals, obsessed with the lifestyle that they're going to be living, dedicated every single day. Their focus is straight, it's right to it. I heard Josh on a different call the other day say it's like a racehorse. They have those things right here. I don't even know what they're called, but you can only see forward. They can only see straight forward. So act like you have those, imagine those. You have to do things like that to be able to actually get to where you want to go sometimes. And that's okay, because distractions get in the way, but you have to have that self-awareness to make sure that you don't, get caught up in all these distractions. And to do that, what you really need to do is to embrace the suffering and the sacrifice. And some of you might be like, okay, what do you mean? Where are you getting at here? I was, going with you till you said that. So once you've embraced that, the sacrifice and the suffering is going to happen, it's almost not as bad, because we're all going to experience, suffering. Whatever it is, it might not be, physical suffering, but, not getting to do what you want to do 24/7, not always getting to do everything that you are wanting to do in that moment. And I think about even like food, eating healthy. I have a sweet tooth. You can ask anybody around me. I will literally, I have an obsession right now with Rice Krispie bars. And I realized, okay, I got to stop. I got to tell myself, I got to be disciplined. I got to start eating healthier again. I somehow got knocked out of that habit, and that's okay. But that's why you have to be self-disciplined enough to put yourself back in and say, okay, this is what I really, really got to change right now in my life to kind of progress. And, embracing that suffering and that sacrifice, it's going to be hard. Like, it's going to be very, very, very hard. You're going to have to make sacrifices to get to where you want to go. Everybody will. Every single person will. So if you're like, okay, I feel like I'm dealing with this, I feel like I'm all alone with this, talk to people around you, because they're actually dealing with sacrifices of their own. They're dealing with situations of their own. And so they'll help you maybe be able to even get through it. Do not be afraid to reach out to people on this team. That's something that I'm always going to mention. Do not be afraid to reach out to me even, call me, text me. You have, you can message me on Telegram. We can always hop on a call, whatever it is, and talk about it. Talk about what we can do to get through it, because that's what the entire team is about, is we help people get through things and get to the next level, to reach our goals, to get where we want to be in life, and to reach all of our dreams. And so, for example, real quick, my gym people, everybody that goes to the gym, whether it's on a daily basis, every few days, whatever it is, we already know, and you have sort of accepted that before you go to the gym and you get there, you're going to have to suffer, and you literally go anyway. We all go anyway, because it becomes a habit. Like, the pain that you feel. You have to feel pain when you're growing that muscle. I mean, sometimes, that's why we always talk about just try one more, just do one more. Tell yourself, do one more. And that's something that I tell myself every single time. It hurts. It hurts very, very bad. But I know that I'm growing. And I know that, I have growth, and that things are starting to, fall into place, whatever it is. I'm on my path to my goals. And so outside of that area, what's crazy is that most people are afraid of suffering. That part's normal, but when we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder, is it worth it? We wonder, are these setbacks and this suffering a sign? That's what I used to do all the time. That was my main excuse all the time. Maybe it was a sign. Maybe I'm struggling. Maybe this happened because, maybe it's a sign that I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe it's a sign that I should just quit now. And now I say, no, I got to push through it. That's my self-discipline. I got to stay dedicated to my goals to keep moving forward. And at the gym, the crazy part is, you get in that mindset, about wondering and suffering, if that's, if it's a sign to stop. But when you're going to the gym, what you really never think about is, oh, I'm going through some pain and discomfort. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I shouldn't be at the gym. No, that's a sign that you're growing. That's a sign that you're growing. If you're working a certain muscle and you start to feel some discomfort and it hurts a little bit, you tell yourself, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I can feel it in my muscles. That means it's growing. And so why is it that when, anything else, and you're struggling and you're suffering with something and it's hard, that you start to think, okay, maybe I should quit. Maybe this isn't for me. And that's something that I dealt with way before. I mean, especially in the first year of starting this, I had a few points where I was like, okay, maybe, I shouldn't be, doing this for my life. Maybe I have to go back to college, even though that's something that I did not want to do. And so, but I realized, okay, no, I got to stay on track. I see my goals. I know what I want in my life. And so this is what I have to do to achieve it. So to the extent that we suffer and sacrifice is to the extent that we grow. I would write this one down. I'm going to say it one more time. To the extent that we suffer and we sacrifice is to the extent that we grow. And that's something that really, really stood out to me on another one of 𝐷𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐻𝑒's YouTube videos I was going through the other day. I was going through a bunch of them, and a lot of things really stood out to me. You're going to see things, and that's what I was kind of talking about that last call is, your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind blocks out things that you don't believe in, things that you don't hear. So maybe two people in the same room, they hear one audio, it's the exact same audio, but they both take something differently out of it, because that's where, their subconscious mind comes in. It blocks out all of these random details in it, and it just makes, the part that they think is really true and that they believed before, because of that belief mindset that they had before, is what really sticks to them. And so that's why, we talked about last week, you got to get rid of that. You got to start learning how to, change the subconscious thoughts that you're having every single day. And there's tons of different things that you can do to kind of do that, which I went over last week, which I can explain more if anybody wants to reach out and talk about it as well. But kind of to jump into this next, doubt is another form of distraction. People start to think that that the only distractions can really be, physical distractions in your life. But that's not true. It can be mental, it can be emotional. The negative self-talk that you have, the fears that you have, it's all distractions. And so doubt is another form of distraction. It comes from the suffering, a loss, a fear, things like that you really got to like be able to realize and have that self-awareness to realize, that's just another distraction. It's just getting in my head. It's another distraction that I have to get through. That's it. And so my next question real quick for you guys is, what are you willing to risk in order to make your dream come true? What are you willing to risk in order to make your dream come true? Because you're going to have to go through things. Things are going to get hard. What are you willing to give up? This is a question that I ask my team all the time when we're doing goal setting calls. We'll hop on a call, and one of the questions I ask near the end is, what is something that you love to do? What is one of your favorite hobbies every single day? What do you really like to do? And let's say, for example, they say, I really like to go drive around with my friends. It's a lot of fun. We listen to music. We have a lot of fun because maybe there's not a lot to do in that town. So that's basically my own personal experience. That's what I would do all the time, is I would go drive around with my friends because that was fun for us. We didn't have much to do here. And so that's when I would ask the person, after they told me what their favorite thing to do was, let's say, driving around with their friends, I said, okay, would you be willing to give that one thing up for an entire year? Would you be willing to give that up for an entire year? Because if you are, you actually do have a higher willingness to learn and willingness to achieve these goals. And then I can actually understand more about, should I be working with this person a lot more? Are they willing to do what they need to? Are they willing to do what's necessary to get to that next level and to progress? The price that you will pay for not making your dream come true is far greater than the one that you will pay to make it come true. I'm going to say that one more time because it definitely stood out to me. The price that you will pay for not making your dream come true is far greater than the one that you will pay to make it come true. One second. So one of the greatest distractions of chasing your dreams is negotiating the price that you are paying. Negotiating the price that you're paying. So, you might be thinking, is it too high? Is it too much? Is what I'm giving up, all these sacrifices, is it too much right now? You might have people whispering in your ear, maybe you should just quit. Maybe that's too much for you to handle right now. Maybe you shouldn't, keep progressing forward. It sounds like, you're putting too much time into this and not putting more time into whatever it is. And so, that one great distraction of chasing your dream is negotiating the price that you are paying. It distracts all your focus, basically, as you negotiate it in your mind. So it's just another distraction. You cannot be executing and negotiating at the exact same time. Write that down. You cannot be executing and negotiating at the exact same time, simultaneously. That is just, you can't. How are you going to progress forward if you're sitting there and doubting yourself, thinking about, maybe it's too much, but, then actually executing on, what you need to do, executing the tasks that you need to do in order to reach those goals. So you cannot be executing and negotiating simultaneously. And one thing too, negotiate it first. When you're doing something, negotiate it first. Always negotiate it first. How can you be dedicated to your goals and be self-disciplined if you're still negotiating in your head about something? If you're still sitting here with this business and the trading and you're thinking, maybe I shouldn't keep doing this. Maybe, I have to start looking at other options because I'm not seeing the results that I want to yet. Okay, well, here's the thing. That shows, okay, you weren't actually dedicated to your goals. You weren't actually self-disciplined enough. And so you're not going to get those results that you see because you're still negotiating in your head if it's still worth it. So get that out of your head. Get it out of your head that, this isn't something that you should continue doing or wondering if it's something that you should continue doing. That is something that you really got to remove from your thinking. And it's a poverty and scarcity mindset too. That's something, it's a poverty and scarcity mindset. For example, not having much money. If you don't have much money and you go into a store and, you don't get what you want, you can't go get what you want. So you get what you think that you can afford. You're looking at those price tags as you go through it. You're constantly looking at the price tags. You won't buy something, unless you look at every price tag of the different options that you have and sit there and think, okay, what can I actually, afford here? Stop negotiating the price. You need to commit. If it's not the price, it's the worth. Stop thinking about the price. Start thinking about the worth. So, stop thinking about what you have to give up in order to do this. Think about, the worth. What's going to come out of this from doing this? From being extremely dedicated to those goals, having that self-discipline. What is actually going to come out of it? Is it worth it? And so when going after your dream, you can't be in a price tag mode because you will never get what you want. So write that down. When going after your dream, you can't be in a price tag mode because you will never get what you want. You have to decide in advance what it's going to cost and if it's worth it. Decide it in advance. So if while you're doing it, while you're going after it, you're not sitting there still negotiating. Because like I said, you can't negotiate at the same time as, sitting there and, executing. So that's something that's extremely, extremely important. That's something that has stood out to me for a very, very long time. And successful people do not negotiate cost of something. They negotiate whether it's worth it. That is something super important. Successful people do not negotiate cost of something. They negotiate whether it's important every single time. Because if you really want something bad enough, it's worth it. It's really worth it. Think about, what are you willing to give up to get to that next level? What are you willing to give up to get to that next level in your business? To, get to that next level with trading? What are you really willing to give up? And so you have to start feeding yourself that question, the worth question, not the cost question. So start feeding yourself that worth question, not the cost question, every single time. Make sure you can be self-aware enough to, understand that the worth is going to be so much more important than the cost. And it's small differences. It's the thing, that's small differences, because cost is a distraction where worth is a focus mechanism. Write that down. Cost is a distraction and worth is a focus mechanism. So think about it. It's so worth it. This is so worth it. I'm going to get to this next level. Everything that I'm doing right now is so worth it because, cost distracts you. Sitting there and thinking about, okay, what is this really going to cost me? That's just going to distract you away from all your goals. And once you get distracted from your goals, it's a million times harder to actually jump back into those goals and think about, that vision. It's going to be a lot harder. So that's why you have to start, shifting that mindset. The times that think about it too, the times that you've been the most lazy, the times that you've been the most laser focused in your life was the times that you were the most happy. And the times that you've been the most distracted is the times that you've been the most unhappy. The most unhappy. Think about it. When you're laser focused on something, you're going to be a lot happier. The example that I heard was, for example, when you're pursuing somebody, you're laser focused in that relationship, everything going on, the honeymoon phase, everything that's going on with that, you're a lot happier than when you're distracted with things and you're focusing on those distractions. So you have to get past all of those distractions. And that is all that I have for today. I'm starting to lose my voice. So I'm going to pass it over to the next speaker. And this is somebody that honestly, since the beginning, since meeting her, she has taught me so much, so much. And the cool thing is that she is always asking questions for everybody, making sure that the questions are answered. Even if she doesn't even have that question herself, she might ask it to make sure that if somebody's too scared to speak up, that, that question is answered. And honestly, she is the one that is running social media. In my mind, she knows what she's doing on social media. She knows exactly how to bring people into her business through social media, how to, show people exactly what we do. Because the thing is, something that you really have to, notice is that if somebody went and looked at your page, can they notice what you do for a living? That kind of thing. And so, Lupita, I'm going to bring you up. If you need to, reach out to her. I promise you, she will help you so much get to, where you need to go, especially with your platform. So, Lupita, I will pass it over to you. Let's send some 7's in the chat for Lupita. I'm going to pin her, and here we go.
Thank you, Zena. You know, guys, I think we're done with the call. Zena literally covered a lot. I'm just kidding. But drop some fire for Zena. I have a bunch of notes right now. Yeah, she dropped a lot of good information. I hope you guys are taking notes. I mean, I can't see your faces, so I can't see if you guys are taking notes, but I hope you are. So my name is Lupita. I am from Illinois, and I've been in this profession for about a year and a half now. And I know if my camera is blurry, it's just I'm using a different laptop, and yeah, the camera quality isn't the best. But anyway, today I will be covering self-awareness, self-accountability, and focus. And these three qualities are very important, especially with what we do. A lot of what we do require our phones. So for example, we reach out to people, we follow up, we create content, we watch or listen to personal development on our phone. So our phones can be useful for our business, but it can also be a great distraction. So I challenge you guys to write down how your phone or anything else has been a distraction in your life. For me, I noticed that when I'm trying to look for content ideas or trending sounds on TikTok, I usually get distracted by other videos, and I find myself just scrolling for a couple of minutes without even realizing that I sidetracked. Or when I'm following up with people on Instagram, I find myself going through reels. So when you realize that you have sidetracked from your task, that's being self-aware. And by being aware of your actions during the task, you can analyze your performance and make informed decisions on how to improve in the future. So for the first step, it's being honest with yourself and acknowledging that you've been sidetracked from your task. This requires self-awareness and the ability to objectively assess your progress. Holding yourself accountable when getting distracted can be challenging as well. So number 2 is going to be self-accountability. Going back to my TikTok example, I spend long periods of time scrolling without noticing it, because I'm enjoying the videos, but I need to hold myself accountable, which that will create discipline. One thing that helps is reframing your mindset. Instead of beating yourself up or feeling guilty about getting sidetracked, reframe your mindset to see if it's an opportunity for improvement. I know when I am scrolling through TikTok and I catch myself doing that later in that day, I'm always like, why am I like that? Like, why I'm being hard on myself. And so yeah, just try not to be hard on yourself. Let's see. I lost my notes. I'm sorry. Okay, refrain. You can also use tools or apps that can help you stay accountable. For example, you can use a time track app, you can use a task management app, or set up reminders on your phone to keep you on track. You can seek external accountability as well. So that's like your this so I'm sorry. So that's sharing your goals or tasks with a friend or your mentor. So your mentor or your friend can be your accountability partner. So knowing that someone else is aware of your task and expecting updates can provide external motivation and help you stay focused. I know that's the way I like to the way I like to have an accountability partner, and that helps me stay focused with my tasks. And if your task doesn't require a phone, you can always just turn off your notification on your phone or on your computer. You can close unnecessary tabs or applications and just find a quiet workspace as well. So how do you focus back on your task? There's many ways to focus back, and I'll just give you some quick examples. Sorry, my mouth is getting You can go on a 5 to 10 minute walk, go to a different room and relax. You can do some light exercise, switch to a different task for a short period of time. Or what I like to do is go in the shower and literally refresh my body. That's something that helps me. In combination, self-awareness, self-accountability, and focus creates a powerful foundation for building discipline. They enable you to understand yourself, take ownership of your actions, and maintain the concentration needed to constantly pursue your goals. So with these qualities, you are more likely to develop the habits, routines, and mindset necessary for long-term success and personal growth. I know that was short, so good things Anna, took more time to talk. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope the information was helpful. The next person coming up is someone I truly admire. She's a very strong woman that won't let anything distract her from her goals. She's very dependable, and she's always there to help her team and just help anyone that needs help. Allie?
Thank you, Lupita. Great information. I know it was short, but thank you for sharing. I know Zenna killed it. Zenna really, really, like, we didn't even need to speak on what we need to talk about. But thank you, Lupita. Put some fire emojis in the chat for Lupita. You know, love the social media queen, knows what she's talking about. So thank you again. My name is Allie. I am 23 years old, and I've been in this industry for about a year now, so pretty new to it, but you know, couldn't be any better to be here. So I know that Zenna, covered being obsessed with your goals and recognizing the distractions, even if they aren't physical. That's what she went over. And then Lupita talked about, self-awareness, self-accountability, and focus. So now I'm gonna kind of dig a little bit deeper into distractions, but I'm going to talk about how you stay disciplined while still staying dedicated even when big life changes happen. So this is actually happening to me right now. There was a big life change in my life. I've never been through it, and I was talking to Zenna and Lupita about it before, when we were preparing for this call and what we were going to talk about. And, I was just telling them straight up, what's been going on in my life. And so now I'm going to talk about how I've, continued to stay disciplined with the distractions that are happening and going on right now. So, hope you're taking notes. I got some information to share about this. So, distractions aren't always small distractions, like how Lupita was talking about how, you're scrolling on social media and, you really should be reading your book, or you should be, listening to self-development videos, but over here you're scrolling on social media, or you're distracted on whatever distraction that you have. Well, these distractions are big distractions that come into your life. They might come once, they might come a couple of times, but how do you overcome it as well as staying disciplined? So handling situations you've never been in, that's what I'm going to cover, as well as things not going as planned. That's just how life works. You might have a great plan and it might go well, but there are other alternatives that might happen. So how do you handle that? And then how do you handle stress? How do you handle stress in situations you've never been in? It's hard, but if you have a small step on how to get through it, you can get through it. So, how do you handle the stress? And then how do you stay dedicated through all of what's going on in your life? And I know that everybody has distractions. Everybody has distractions. It might be small distractions and it might be really big distractions in your life, but how do you stay focused? So these are steps that I'm starting to use and take, and that I have taken in different aspects of my life. So the first step to handling situations you've never been in, you want to stay calm. That's the first step. Stay calm. Take a deep breath, take a minute and just really get your head clear. If that means, you have to go take a walk, or you have to go in the shower, like Lupita said, and just refresh yourself. Whatever you got to do to just stay calm. If it's close your eyes and just literally just be in silence, do that. So that's the first step, is staying calm in this situation. Second is assessing the situation. So next, you want to understand what went wrong. Why did it happen? And what are the consequences of what's going to happen? So assessing the situation is step number 2. Step number 3 is analyzing your options. Write down on a piece of paper some things that, you can get yourself out of that situation. What are some certain things that you can maybe take small steps to get out of it? So the third is analyzing your options. The fourth is seeking advice. So, it's okay to be in the situation you're in. Things happen. People go through things on a daily basis, and you wouldn't know that they're going through it because they might not speak about it. But, you always want to have somebody that you can reach out to, if that's a family member, if that's a friend, if that's your mentor or a professional. You want to talk to somebody about it. You don't want to just keep everything inside, because it's going to get worse if you don't talk about it. So, seeking advice from somebody that you trust, that is the 4th step. And the 5th step is taking action. So, the things that you wrote down on analyzing your options on how to get out of it, now you're actually going to take action on that step. So even if it's a small step, you're still going to take a little bit of action to get out of it. So that's the 5th step. And then the 6th is learning from experience. This is huge. You can't really help somebody if you never been through that experience. But I'm not saying you can't help them. I'm just saying you can still be supportive, but it's easier when you've been through a certain experience. Then you can actually help that person, because you know how it feels. You know what they're going through, and it's just easier. But, you want to reflect on what you've learned in the past, because this might come up again. It might not be the same. It's not going to be the same situation, because obviously you learned from it the first time. But there's going to be another situation that happens in your life that you're going to have to overcome. So, you want to think about, okay, what did I do last time when I was in that situation, and it really started to affect you mentally? What did you do? So, what worked? You want to think about what worked, what went wrong, and then what did you do? What could you do differently this time? So, I'll just say them quick again. So stay calm is step number 1. Step number 2 is assess the situation. Step number 3 is analyze your options. Step number 4 is seeking advice from a family, a friend, a mentor. Step number 5 is taking action. And step number 6 is learning from experience. So that is, handling situations that you've never been in. And the next thing is, things don't go as planned. That's just part of life. You could have a great plan and think it's going to go all right, but that one thing might not go right. So, just always be aware of what could go wrong, but don't think about the negative things that could go wrong in your life, but just know that it could. So, you want to take a step back. I'm not going to really, this kind of goes hand in hand with handling situations you've never been in. So you want to take a step back and think about, okay, well, it didn't go as planned. So now what can I do to get out of what went wrong? This really helps too, is reframing your mindset. I realized that, okay, if this was me 2 years ago, I would be in a completely different spot, because my mindset now is stronger than what it was before. I wasn't weak-minded. It was just, you didn't do certain things to get your mind right. And for you to have a strong mindset, you have to work on yourself. And that comes with, you know, self-development. That's why everybody talks about you have to be self-developed. Just do it every single day, because once you step away from it, it's really hard to get back into it. And then you start thinking negative thoughts. And that's what I started to realize. In hard times, you want to stay as positive as possible, even if it sucks. Like the situation you're in, it really does suck, but just being positive will really, really help and go a long way and get you out of that. So, you know, like I said, if, you know, it was 2 years back, I probably would be in a worse situation than I'm in now. But since, you know, I reframed my mindset, I worked on myself, I actually developed my mind to be a positive person, you know, has helped me stay calm, like everything's going to be okay. That's what I just keep thinking. So, you know, you want to reframe your mindset. It's huge, it's crucial, and that's how you get far in life. So reframing your mindset, and then you want to obviously evaluate what went wrong, and then learn from that situation, and then just keep moving forward. So that's for things that don't go as planned. And then, you know, how do you handle stressful situations? How do you handle that? The first step is taking a deep breath. Like I said, you know, sometimes people just need, like Zen talked about, you just need a couple minutes. Just take a couple minutes. It's okay. Don't constantly be thinking about, okay, well, I don't know, like that's how I find myself. I just keep thinking about, okay, well, if I would have just done this, but you're already in the situation. So why are you thinking about what you could have done? You just have to think about what you're going to do, not what if I would have, what if. No, don't think what ifs. Like Lupita said, no what ifs. So, you know, just take a deep breath and just really think about what you're going to do to get yourself out of that situation and to stay calm in stressful situations. So the second step is acknowledging your feelings. You know, you do want to, you know, acknowledge it. It's okay to feel stressed, you know, overwhelmed in new situations, something you've never been in. But don't beat yourself up about it. You know, you want to acknowledge how you feel, but you don't want to sit there and dwell on it. So the next step is seeking support. Like I said, you know, reaching out to someone you trust. Like I said, if it's, you know, your mentor, one of your best friends, you know, a professional that's what they do for a living, you know, talking to somebody. So you want to reach out to them because they could actually help you. You know, you could sit down with that person and actually come up with a solution. You could come up with a plan, and they could really help you get out of what situation you're in. So that's the third step. And the fourth is breaking things down. You want to break it down into smaller pieces, you know, manageable, where you don't feel so overwhelmed and where it feels like it's such a big thing that you have to figure out. Just take one thing at a time. That's what I've realized. You can't, when you're in a certain situation, you can't think about, okay, well, I have to do this. I have to do 5 things, but you know, you're going to start with one, get that first thing done, the most important one, and then just work your way down. You don't want to think about, it's like any type of goal that you have. You want to think, or a task, you want to think about it as simple as possible. So breaking things down is step number 4. Step number 5 is staying present. So focus at the task at hand, you know, avoid and don't worry about the future. Like, yes, think about your future, but don't worry about it. You want to get to the next, just think about like what you're going to do the next day. Don't always think about, okay, well, I have to do this, because then you get overwhelmed. So staying present. And then step number 6 is practicing self-care. You know, make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you're eating well. And then also make sure that you're doing activities that you enjoy. Like, you don't want to just sit inside and just dwell and sit there and be sad. And no, maybe it's, you got to go outside because it's a beautiful day. Because I know in the Midwest, you know, it was very, very nice weather. It's been very nice. So if it was, you go outside and you do your work, you know, you hop on a Zoom call, you go outside and read a book, or take a walk and you're listening to a podcast, whatever it was, you know, enjoy, do something that's fun for you. Because like I said, you can't, if you just sit inside when it's a beautiful day, you're not going to feel, you're going to still feel stressed. I feel like if you get out, it will help you as a person and individual to not feel stressed in that situation. So the last is to be patient with yourself. You know, it's okay. You make mistakes, things happen. It's not always going to go the right way as what you planned, and just learning is a process. So you went through it, you're going through it, and it's not going to be a forever thing. So don't be so hard on yourself. That's the steps that I have for handling stress. And then I'm almost done. I know I'm just kind of ranting, but so the last step that I have is dedication. So how am I staying dedicated through everything that's going on, you know, in my life? Or how are you able to stay dedicated during whatever situation you're in right now? Dedication is a process. You know, it takes time, it takes effort to actually achieve your goals. But just remember that, you know, you staying dedicated through these hard times, it's going to pay off. It really is going to pay off. So you want to focus on your why. We always talk about that. You hear a lot of leaders, a lot of mentors, they always talk about focus on your why, because it's so important. You know, that's how I've been able to still stay disciplined and dedicated, is because of my why. Like, your why has to be strong enough. And if it isn't, then you're going to give up. Yes, because that's just what, if, like I said, if you're not mentally strong, it's just easy. It's easier to give up. But if you think about it, if you think about your why and why you even started doing this in the first place, you won't give up. You won't. Trust me. That's why I'm still here. You know, I was talking to Zena and Lupita about it, and they were like, dude, like, if I were you, I wouldn't even be doing these calls. I would tell myself, I need a break till I'm, you know, out of whatever you're out of. And I'm like, you know what, though? I realized that I have to stay close to everybody here, because it actually helps me get away from what's actually going on. So, you know, if it's reaching out to somebody on the team, you know, everybody here is so helpful. Everybody here actually really is genuinely caring. Like, they do want to help you get to the next level. So, you know, always reach out or talk to somebody, because it's super important. And you know, back to being dedicated, is you want to break the things down. So, you know, focus on completing that task, one task at a time. And like I said, staying positive. You have to stay positive. You can't think about the negative thoughts, because that's just what comes with every human, is our brains are developed to just think negatively. So you have to reframe that. Okay, you get a negative thought, you have to, don't even take a second to think about that negative thought. Just think about something positive. Think about something that you're going to achieve, because if you start thinking about those things, you won't even think about those negative thoughts. And yes, it takes time. It's hard, but that's what comes with reframing your mindset. So, you know, do that. And I promise you, you'll start, especially if you, like for me, it was, I thought negatively all the time. So when I started thinking positive, it was like weird. It was weird at first. Like it was just like different, because you're so used to doing something and change is hard. So people don't want to change because it's uncomfortable. But once you actually start thinking positive, it's like when you get a negative thought, it's like you don't like that. Like you just like, no, like this is not how I'm meant to think, because we're not, but that's just how we are as humans. So just always stay positive no matter what you're going through. And then always seek support. You know, always seek support. Like I said, make sure that you talk to somebody. It's very important, because it will really help you. And yeah, and then like I said, staying close to everybody here. That's what's really helped me stay dedicated. And If, any of you on this call, you have me on in the chats, you have me on Instagram, some of you have my personal number, no matter what it is that you're going through, I'm always here. I know Zena and Lupita are always here as well. Anybody is always here for you. So, we did cover a lot this evening. So thank you all for hopping on. I hope you got some very valuable information. And next week we are going to start the call at, what is it? 8 o'clock is the time, Central Time, 8 p.m. We're going to start it at 8:05. So I know that we were starting the calls, 10 minutes into 8 o'clock, so 8:10. But we want to starting the calls a little bit earlier, just because, then we can get done a little bit sooner and we're not running into the next hour. So make sure that you guys hop on right at 8 when the call starts, Central Time. Eastern Time is 9. So yes, also, if you want to reach out to us in the chat, or if you want to reach out to us personally, we'd love to see what, some things that you guys are struggling with, or what you guys want us to talk about, because, it's very important that we help every single one of you here. So, we're going to be doing these calls weekly. I know that, there's a few weeks where we don't do them, but, reach out to us, let us know some things that you want us to go over, or that you're struggling with, or whatever the case is. But yes, thank you all for hopping on. It is going to be the beginning of the week, so make sure that, you stay disciplined, dedicated, and don't let those distractions take over, and really implement this into your daily life. Appreciate all of you guys. Love you all. Have a fantastic night. Peace.